Yay! Good morning, good afternoon. Come on, put a smile on your face. You got a whole new day. Good afternoon to the East Coast. How are you? And good morning, stretch, wake up, West Coast. Because you know it's warm for us. It's probably like 77 already at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hey, community. Hey, family. How are you? So let's do what we do because we're in gratitude to be able to do it. So inhale and exhale. So, how are you? I have not paid any attention to any of the Democratic, Republican, anything. So, I hope you're not allowing yourself to get too upset, too frazzled, too disappointed, too whatever with all of that. I don't know, on some level, to me, it's like a rah, 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 rah. I'm like, we've been through this so many times. What's going to actually be the end result that we get? Good morning, Constance Johnson. So, I really just kind of stayed out of it. It's all great and good. If we don't have the people in the Senate and the House, I don't know what Biden and Kamala are going to be able to do. I don't know that Trump still won't get in. So I just choose to just stay focused on the fact that whatever's unfolding is unfolding perfectly for each and every one of us. But today I wanted to ask you this question to see if you were part of this process because it's become so, maybe I don't need these, so blatant these days that there's this one element that just continues to show up more and more and more, I notice, in our interactions with each other that really impacts how we interact like publicly on the planet. You see people out and what you say or what they say or what you don't say or the attitudes you may or may not have with them. And I just wondered if you found yourself being guilty of this particular practice. And for many of us, it's really kind of unconscious. We are conscious of it on some level, and then it's unconscious on other levels because we all do it. Nobody can hear this and say, oh, I don't do that. Oh, yeah, you do. We all do it. We all have a tendency to do this thing around comparing. And we'll look at one person. Matter of fact, you know what? I was in Nordstrom's the other day, and I watched a girl do it. And I know, ladies, we do this. And she was at the counter. She was facing this way. She was here and her mom was here. And she turned around. There was a woman behind her. And she looked at this woman and she looked her up. Okay, I'm going down now. So she looked her down and she looked her up. And she kept looking and she kept looking. And the woman had her dog. I was looking too because I don't know why you guys bring your dogs to the store. Different story. So she looked at her dog and she looked at her and she just kept looking at her. And when I walked past her, I was trying to catch her glance to see if I could get her to break her stare from looking at this other woman. And I just thought, how often do we look at each other in comparison and judgment? How often do we look at others in comparison, either comparing ourselves to them, comparing them to us, or in judgment? We're judging what they say, what they do, how they carry themselves. How often do we do that? Oh, there's a little bit more light. No, that's not that much light, huh? How often do we really do that? And how often are we conscious of it? Because so much what seems to be happening right now is there's a judgment about the people who will or will not wear their mask. It's almost like we just needed something to zero in on and have a target. Now we're going to focus on that. And that's what all the attention goes to, is judging. Why don't you wear a mask? Why won't you do this? And all of us do it. You could walk into your place of work if you get back to work soon and you're feeling all good and you walk into the office maybe and you say hi to this person, they say hi, you say hi to that person, then you say hi to somebody and they don't say hi back. And then you get all inside, what's wrong with her? Why did she say anything? What's going on? And then we hold that judgment. And then we go on through the day and something will happen here, and then we have another little attitude about it. What we want to realize is that no one is looking at life through the same lenses that we are. We don't walk in their shoes, so we really don't know what's going on in their lives. So where does it become just like second nature for us to think that we would have a judgment? Now I want mine. About them. Sometimes I like to remind us of what words mean because we use them so much and we do certain things so much that we don't even think about, what am I really doing when I'm judging someone? What is that about, and how do we shift that so that we can still make the movement we need to make on this planet? and not continue to look at other people with, oh, judge. Well, no, I want just judge. We want judgment without our personal sense of what we think is their right, their wrong, what they should or should not be doing. Who put us in charge of all that in someone else's life? So judgment, what you're doing, what we're doing, what we all do, because we're all doing it. We form an opinion or an evaluation by discerning and comparing. You're comparing their clothes, you're comparing their cars, you're comparing their shoes, you're comparing their platform, their political platform. You're comparing and constantly looking at what they have as it relates to what you do or do not have, or what you think they should have, or what you think it means about what they have. All of this judgment, an opinion or estimate so formed, it's not worth doing in my judgment. So it's an opinion that we have. Now, for people of color, many people have had opinions about us that were nowhere near true, that did not carry any validity to the truth of who we are and how we may live and see ourselves. Now that gets escalated with the conversations around racism, because there's been so much judgment that we hold toward each other that it really becomes important on this journey at this moment to be willing, one, first of all, recognize yourself when you're judging. And you can't even say you don't judge. Don't even try and tell me that. And I'm going to show you why in a minute. Recognize when you're judging and then turn back to you to understand, how come I'm judging? Why am I looking at this way and making this comparison? You don't know their life. I don't know their lives. It would behoove any of us to question that before we put our lens of judgment on someone to say, oh, that's not right. She shouldn't be doing that. Or why is he doing that? It just becomes another way to distract ourselves from focusing on our internal struggles and our internal issues. Nobody asked you for your opinion. Nobody asked you to make a decision on what was good enough to evaluate something, on your judgment or not. So what would our world be like right now if we were willing to do three things? First of all, catch yourself. You have to catch yourself, because it's all internally to you. We're judging people and, making decisions about people. They don't know it, but if they happen to catch us looking at them, they can feel it. First of all, understand. Understand. First, seek to understand. Do you ever think, let's ask a question about how come somebody's doing something or how come they behave the way they behave? We keep thinking as we look through our lenses that they're doing something based on our lens, but we don't even know their lens. We don't know their life. We don't know their circumstances. We don't know their mindset. We don't know anything, but we're going to put our lens of judgment on them. And you know what? We don't like it when people put their lens of judgment on us. We want them to talk to us. We want them to be understanding. You'll say, well, why didn't you just come talk to me? Why did you have to do all that? But we won't do that for others. We want them to do it for us, but will we do it for them? So first, seek understanding. When this all started back in March and April, I met a woman. We were walking the incline by my house, and she didn't have on her mask, and I had on one. And we walked together, and I asked her, how come you're not wearing your mask? Ask questions. At least be willing to understand another person's point of view. There's 7 billion people on this planet with 7 billion different points of views. Now, they may overlap a little bit, but none of them are 100% the same. So seek to understand that person before you jump to a conclusion and decide for yourself about what's going on for them. You don't know. Many of us don't know each other's world. That's part of the problem. And we're allowing the media to tell us what the world is when the media is not telling us the truth. The media is just feeding what it needs to feed for the end result of capitalism, because we live in a capitalist country. The next thing I want you to recognize, tip 2, where did you learn judgment? Who taught you to judge? And who is it that you judge the most? Put your hand up. It's you. You judge yourself. You give yourself a hard time. Either you didn't do this, you should have done that. What was I thinking? I was so stupid. We take all that in on ourselves. Can you imagine you're bombarding yourself with all this negative criticism? You're comparing yourself about what you should have done, you could have done, you would have done. All this you're turning toward yourself. Secondly, can you release yourself from your own judgment rather? All that judgment you have inside of you about what you should have done, what you could have done. Because that's why it becomes so easy to judge them, because it's so comfortable to judge yourself. And the judgment doesn't lead to a critical critique with action steps afterwards. The judgment doesn't lead to, okay, so this is the way it is, and so I want to actually end up over here. So I'm shifting myself, or I'm shifting this internal conversation. No, the judgment just keeps going and keeps you stuck in the same place. What would it take for you to release yourself from your internal judgment? See, I think it's easy to go judge them because we're so used to judging ourselves. It just becomes natural to judge everybody else. So I want you to seek to understand. Ask questions. You know, the person didn't say hello. Instead of jumping to a conclusion about why they didn't say hello, maybe you should say, hey, I said hello to this morning. Why didn't you say hello to me? Not that they have to. There's no rule that says if I say hello to you, you have to say it back. But you can ask them. And then maybe there might be a story that, well, I got up this morning and such happened and I really wasn't thinking. And so don't take it personal. It wasn't having anything to do with you. And there it is, the truth, while you've had all this judgment about why they didn't speak to me or why didn't. Seek to understand, 1. 2, release your own self-judgment. What you judge yourself about, how you give yourself a hard time. Release that, because we're so used to doing it for ourselves. It's second nature to do it for everyone else. I mean, take a day and notice how much judgment you have as you're going through your day. We judge how people drive. We judge how people dress. We judge how people speak. We judge what people do or don't do. This just judging, comparing as if what? Because we judge them, it makes us better and it puts them down. No. All of it impacts the universe because it's all negative energy. It's all energy that says we're not enough, I'm not okay, who I am and as I am. So I'm picking on myself, and if I pick on me, I'm going to pick on you and pick over there. Release yourself from that self-judgment. Recognize simply you have done the best you could with what you knew at that time. That was it. You did the best you could. Everybody's doing the best they can with what they know at that time. And everybody knows different things at different levels to different degrees. I mean, it's not easy. It's not like we're all cookie cutters as the same, this, and that. It's 7 billion different people, attitudes, thoughts, possibilities. I mean, so you have to be willing to release yourself first. All the things you're holding against yourself, you wish you could have done, should have done better. Just say, I release it. And today I start fresh. The last thing is to take a word that is so powerful and wrap your judgment in that. And that is wrap it in compassion. What does it take for you and I to have compassion for others? What does it take to have compassion even if you may disagree with something they're saying or doing? What does it take? Because there's so many people that are walking around, you're spiritual and you got all your little religions and everything that you tout. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a this. Okay, so where is the compassion from those religious teachings being demonstrated in your day-to-day interactions? Where are those compassions being offered to yourself for what you have to go through sometimes? And then offered to your neighbors and community and to the world. There's nothing stopping any of us from being more compassionate with each other. And being able to say, I don't know what's going on with that person or that family. I just trust that everything's okay. I can't judge them. I can't say it's good or bad. It's so commonplace for us to give our 2 cents. Nobody asked you for your 2 cents. They're already struggling with their own 2 cents. They don't need your 2 cents. So recognize if you are one of those that are caught up in the judging people who should be doing this, who should be doing that, the people who need to lose weight, the people who need to stop smoking. It could just go on and on and on. Be willing to take these 3 tips. Seek to understand, first and foremost. Release yourself from your own personal judgment. And then lastly, express some compassion. It can simply be, I don't know what's going on, but I trust it's all in divine order. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you have to have a judgment about it. And if you don't like it, you don't even know that much about it, and it's in someone else's affairs, like somebody else's house, then get out their house and come to your own neighborhood, your own house, and leave them be. Just wish them well. Have compassion for whatever it is, and just wish them well. And then we can begin to create some shifts in the universe. The other thing, remember all that judgment, it impacts you. You're the one that's carrying it around. You're the one that's complaining. You're the one that's fussing. That person is going on about their business and doesn't even know you're judging them. So think about what's going to be best for you as well, as opposed to holding on to your judgments, just fussing and fussing and fussing. It's like we get in routines of doing things and saying things when in reality we could let it all go and create some more space inside of ourselves for compassion, for understanding and acceptance. And that's all I got for you today on this Thursday. Janine Macklin, I'm your transformational speaker, your wealth guide and catalyst. You can find me at www.janinemacklin.com. I think we have everything set up and ready to go. Go there. There's a download for you about healing your relationship with money, because I'm that guru who wants my women to change their relationship with money to have greater confidence. So there's a freebie there for you. You can get on the list, join some of the trainings that we do. The monthly prosperity call, you may want to be a part of that as well. Go to Janine Macklin at www.janinemacklin.com. It's Thursday. We're winding down, heading into the week. I trust that I can feel the momentum with the elections and everything. I get all the texts. I hate that I gave them my text. They're texting me everything. Elizabeth Warren did this. Somebody is doing this. Somebody's doing that. I'm like, wow. So you can still feel the energy, and that's all well and good. My bottom line is, do we have enough polling booths? Do we have enough transportation to get people to the polls? Can we make it a doggone holiday so everybody who wants to vote can vote? Can we sit on our ballots with grace and ease? Do we have people in the Senate and the House to make a difference in the first place? And lastly, what's going to keep us woke like we are right now for the next 4 years for the marathon that we have to run? So whoever can do that, I'm for it. But if that's not what you're doing, then it's like, okay, I don't need all the rah-rah. I need results. I'm tired of participating in political arenas where it's just antiquated. It doesn't even serve us. But if this is what we have, fine. I'll accept it for now. But I want us to be moving towards something bigger and greater for this country. So those are my issues around the politics. So I understand what the Democrats are doing, because they know, like I know, there's no guarantee that Mr. Trump won't get in again. So he's doing all he can to stay in because he's afraid New York's going to arrest him when it's all said and done. But anyway, in the meantime, I just let that roll however it's going to roll. I'm looking locally to see how we get people to the polls and what's that going to look like. And in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and live life. And do something with my lips. I keep getting chapped. In the meantime, take good care. Have a great day. Janine Macklin here. Bye for now.